unaware. You keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. We call that stupid. When you keep doing the same thing and expect different results, and then you quit because you're not getting different results. And then you start giving yourself limiting beliefs like, this is as good as it gets. There's no hope for me. I can't change this situation. Which is why I refer to the state of unawareness as stupid. Because you are, without realizing it, repeating the same behavior and expecting different results. Conscious awareness is intelligence. It is stepping out of oblivion. It is stepping away from the state of being oblivious and realizing, oh, I've literally been doing the same thing over and over again for 30 years. Yeah, you realize 30 years has gone by. And then you feel like a real idiot. That it took you 30 years of repetition and seeing no results before you say, maybe I should try something different. That is stupid. Intelligence is the ability to recognize unawareness, which is why I throw the word stupid around a lot. Everyone is stupid sometimes. I was stupid for 30 years. In 2001, I had the ability to change my situation. I had the knowledge, I had the know-how, I had the argument Rorschach print perspective, and instead I went to bed for 20 years and felt sorry for myself. It is the only regret I have, is that I could have healed myself in 2001, and I didn't. I repeated my mistakes and then complained that nothing was changing. People will argue, well, that's mindset. Psychologically, that is conscious awareness. And it's a game changer. When you realize that you are in a status of being oblivious. I have a very unique challenge in my job. I give tours to the subconscious mind. I create cartoon images through story and word to take you by the hand, pull you into your subconscious mind, and show you the world inside. I love my job. But I have a very unique challenge and obstacle to my job. When people come to my door, they are consciously unaware. They stand there and they knock, and they come in, and then they do nothing. And I don't understand it. They'll sit on the floor, they'll scroll through my pages, they'll read all my material, but they will do nothing. They will not sign up for this class. They will not participate in any of the courses. They will not join any of the groups. This morning, I reached out to my partner, and he has the same problem right now. And I asked him, why? And he gave me two answers. The first one was, I do not believe I can be helped. The second one, this one, I think I'm in a rut and it will just pass. I love that man. He has been in a rut like this for 30 years. And he has been waiting for this rut to pass for 30 years. I also waited 30 years. So I can't argue. I can't blame him. How long does a person have to wait before they realize, oh, I'm doing the same thing over and over again? Oh, why am I doing that? And then there's this moment where you realize that you are literally repeating the same behavior day after day for 30 years. And you are expecting different results. This, and I know where this comes from. The perspective is a trap. It's a trap. It really is. The perspective is a trap. It is the very story we get stuck in that blinds us to what we're really doing. It makes the real problem invisible to us. So my job is not just to give tours of the subconscious mind. My job is to go into the minds of the consciously unaware and shift their perspective with their consent very gently until they see that they're repeating the same behavior for decades without changing anything, but they're expecting different results. Therapy throws everything at you. And they're guessing. They're guessing. They really are guessing. I have had so many conversations with professionals. I've pulled them apart. And this is what I concluded. This is what I learned. A therapist is usually a really nice person who wants to help other people, but they don't like blood. Dead serious. They don't like blood. They are a nice person. Some of them have had trauma. Most of them have not. The ones that have had trauma, most of them have a little bit of trauma. They work through their issues when they go through therapy, and they just want to help people. They're good-hearted empaths. And they get into therapy, and most of them just don't like the sight of blood. Many of them say to me, I started with nursing school, and then I realized I don't like blood. I started with medical school. I was going to be a doctor, and then I realized I don't like blood. Most therapists have a blood phobia. That is not why I do the work I do. I do not have a problem with blood. I wanted to be a veterinarian, but I could not look at animals in pain. That is I cannot handle animals suffering. Close it up. No. I will be a silent, anonymous donor, constantly donating funds to that cause, but do not show me the pictures. I cannot handle animals suffering. I cannot handle children suffering. That is not why I do what I do. I do what I do because when I got out, I went, oh my God, there's sunlight. I can step out of the darkness. I really could. And when I finally did, I went, what about everybody else? And then I talked to my husband and I saw him being tormented. And I thought, well, why can't he come with me? And my best friend was being tormented and my children were tormented. And then I started to see all the people. Ubuntu. Ubuntu is an African word. I believe it's from Zimbabwe. It means as one. It means empathy for all. It kind of means one for all for one. It was Jay Shetty, the retired Buddhist monk and philosopher, and one of my inspirations, who taught me about Ubuntu. He told me about the story about how when he was in Africa, all the children ran There was a contest, and there was a prize at the end of the contest. And the prize at the end of the contest was candy. But it only went to the winner. And instead of racing, the children took each other's hands, and they all calmly walked to the end as one. And he was like, what was that? In American culture, we would have like, die, and then just ran towards the... But these children, and then they got to the candy and they shared it. And he asked them, why? And they said, Ubuntu. How can any one of us be happy and enjoy the candy if everyone else is left behind? Ubuntu. So I'm here and I'm in my sunlight, and I am alone. Ubuntu. How can I enjoy this when everybody else is in the darkness? Now, I know not everybody else is. I know some people have found out. I know some people have gotten out. I know some people can see the sunlight, and they are doing everything they can to desperately hold on to the glimmer of light they see. I remember when I was there. And they just don't know how to get from where they are, where they can see the sunlight, to relaxing and enjoying the sunlight. There's a difference. Believe me, there's a difference. And then there's people who are so far back into their darkness that their back is turned to the beacon of light, and they don't even know there's a beacon. I used to be there. And then there's people who can see the light, but it flickers and it fades. And they're sleeping in the sewage every night. And they're terrified and they can hear the screams. I used to be there. And then there's people who are laying in the mud holding a knife. And there's a voice in their head saying, just end it. You'll never get out. Just end it. I've been there too. Conscious awareness is the difference. Conscious awareness is everything. Conscious awareness is the thing that allows you to step out of perspective. And perspective is a trap. If you have the ability to shift your perspective so that you take your perspective completely away from the subconscious mind, and you, the conscious awareness, says, enough. I want to know what the situation really is. That's where I step in. That's where I sit down with conscious awareness. Well, I sit down with consciousness, you. And I say, oh, you want to know what the situation really is? I'll tell you what the situation really is. In most cases, your abuser is long gone. In most cases, you are fine and you are safe. In most cases, your abuser abused you so terribly that they embedded a false story into your subconscious mind and then taught your subconscious mind to run off of that program. And it's still running. They left. They're dead. In a lot of cases, they are dead. But your subconscious mind is still playing their story. It reminds me of the book Clockwork Orange. You've been given the chemical. You're watching the movie. And then the people who gave you that chemical and put you in that room and made you watch that movie died. And you are still chained to that chair watching that movie. And you can't stop it. I can. That is what we're doing here right now. That is exactly what we're doing. I'm the person who steps into the subconscious mind, and I'm stopping the movie, and I'm having you look at me, and I'm saying to the consciousness, hi, you need to know what's really happening here. You're about to step out of the matrix. You have been trapped in a story that your abuser conditioned and brainwashed into you. And I can tell the difference between their story and your truth. That is really what's happened here. And the only thing that is keeping you locked in their story, literally, is you're just not aware of it. It's just dormant consciousness. And I can see all the symptoms. I can see all the problems your life has accumulated and all the obstacles that is keeping you from going anywhere. Because I can see how the subconscious mind works. I probably should have made conscious awareness the first life titan instead of the second or the third. But I don't know, live and learn. Maybe I'll switch this around. You tell me, should I have started with conscious awareness, or was I right to start with identity? You see, I believe that in explaining all of this to you, I don't think you would understand if I had started with conscious awareness. As I'm talking to you on day 3, you know who identity is now, and you know who subconscious mind is. So now that I'm introducing you to conscious awareness, now you have the ability to put it in perspective and have the shift you need to say, oh, so what's really going on? What's really going on is you have a subconscious mind that's only an AI, and a good one. And it took information from your past and it ran with it. Now, I say abuser, but life events can abuse us. Life events. It doesn't have to be one person. You can experience just an event and be traumatized. It doesn't have to have a literal physical abuser with a name and an incident in a playground. It can just be you. It's just the way the subconscious mind works. And we're ignorant to how the subconscious mind works, which makes us vulnerable. Ignorance is vulnerability. But ignorance and vulnerability end when you have conscious awareness. So that's really what I'm doing here. I am ending your vulnerability with this information. I am completely ending your lack of intelligence or knowledge by giving you a different perspective. Once you turn on conscious awareness, you become intelligent. Once you have the skill, this beautiful skill, the skill to change your own perspective, better yet, the skill to assess your own perspective. My God, that's gold. That was the freedom fucking door. The ability to assess your own perspective. That's power. That is the real power. Oh my God. It really was. I fall for it sometimes. I get caught in perspectives. It's a trap. And I go, oh, God damn it. And I did this just yesterday. I went, damn it. I was caught in another perspective and I didn't see it. Never stop assessing. Rule number 1 of optimal mental health. Never stop assessing. Never stop. Because those perspectives come in and suddenly you're caught in a story and you go, oh, I just switched worlds. Now where am I? And you don't know you've switched worlds. You're and you're going along and you don't realize that you have stepped into another world. You have to keep assessing. It's like that moment when Leo, is that his name? Leo, or is it Nero? I don't know his name. In the Matrix movies. It's when Keanu Reeves is walking through in the very first movie and he shakes his head and goes, whoa. And they're like, what is it? And he goes, I don't know, just deja vu. Now I want to talk about that particular moment in the movie. It's when the black cat walks by and he goes, whoa, cat just walked by, and then another cat just walked by. And immediately the entire team goes, that wasn't deja vu, that was the Matrix, let's move. Now let me tell you something. We're going to sit down and we're going to telescope to microscope in that moment. What if Keanu Reeves had not seen the cat? What if he did not experience the deja vu to say to them, whoa, deja vu? None of them saw it. No one else saw it. Only Keanu Reeves saw it. Everyone else missed it. Which means even the pros, while walking through the matrix, missed the glitch in the matrix that was the program changing. They weren't paying attention. For a moment, they were not consciously aware. And that moment, they went from being knowledgeable, intelligent, consciously aware, one step ahead, to being ignorant. And it was Keanu Reeves going, whoa, deja vu, that they finally stopped and went, what do you mean deja vu? What did you just see? Well, there was a black cat, and then there was another cat that looked just like the first cat. Oh, and then you saw their perspectives shift. Shit, we're back in the matrix. And they saw it. That is what happens to you. That is what happens to me. That is what happens to everybody with perspectives. You have to be one step ahead of the perspective shift. You have to be so fucking solid with your perspective shifts that you're always a step ahead, that you have mastered the art of story and perspective shift. This is why we ruminate. This is why we obsess over events. This is why when something happens, we talk about it and talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. This is why we obsess, why we call up people and we spend an hour constantly talking about what happened until our friend says, look, you've been talking about this for weeks. Could you just not talk about it anymore? The reason why you can't stop talking about it is because you're trying to find the right story and you can't. We have to know the right story. The right story is the story that is based on your identity, your ethics, and your beliefs. And you cannot allow anyone to touch those things. And we're bombarded with opinions all day long. We are bombarded with so much. There is so much noise. Oh my God. There's opinions, and there is media, and there is propaganda, and there is news, and there is arguments, and there are newspapers, and there are articles, and there is research, and there is information, and it's just noise. And every little bit of noise that comes in keeps altering and shifting your story into whatever mutation the outside wants to put it into. You have to be formidable against that outside influence so that when someone tells you an opinion, it doesn't affect your story. The problem is when you are abused, your story, your beliefs, your identity, and your ethics have been conditioned to obey, conditioned to change, to stay safe. So when you're constantly living in a state of fear and this information is just bombarding you, you can't catch your breath because your story is constantly changing to reflect whatever situation is safest. And that's not what the story is for. The story should never reflect what is safest. Oh my God, no. And that's the problem. That is the default, no, wrong word. Give me a minute. That is the malfunction of the subconscious mind. It is so determined to keep you safe that it's going to alter your story to do so, causing you more harm than good. Because if you are in an abusive situation and you have your story and someone abuses you, you need to get out. Instead, the subconscious mind changes your story. And some abusers are masters at knowing how to change your story. So they keep changing your story, keeping you in the abusive situation. So now, what should have been a one-time short incident of bad situation, get the fuck out, has become a lifestyle. This is where the subconscious mind really is stupid. This is where the subconscious mind assumes you lack the ability to escape. So it just changes the story. The reason why it keeps you in abuse and just changes the story is because you were abused by your parents at a time when you could not escape. So the subconscious mind, that is an AI, learned that you can't escape when you can. There is a practice, if you've ever seen it with elephants, where you will have this massively giant elephant, a full adult, and there will be a rope tied around the elephant's leg. And the rope, this stupid little tiny rope, is attached to a bush. Logically, the elephant can pull the rope and run away. But it doesn't. It does not. People, tourists, have asked, what's with the rope holding the adult elephant to the shrub? And this is what they say. We train them. Train them. Training is an abuser deliberately changing a story in a subconscious mind. And they do this with animals. When the elephant is an infant, they will use an actual rope and tie the baby elephant to a tree at a time when the elephant is too weak to pull the shrub. And as the elephant grows, the elephant never realizes, because it's consciously unaware, that it's getting stronger and that it can. But it doesn't try because the subconscious mind has changed the story. You are stronger now. You have grown. I remember when I was 21 years old. 9/11 had just happened. And I remember the amount of work I had to put myself through to have a 30-minute conversation with my abuser. The argument that freed me. And that was the most work I have ever done in all my life. True story. I never worked more harder than I did that day than when I had that 30-minute argument with my abuser, where I logically proved to a man who was literally 30 years my senior and a master attorney, and I out-argued him with logic. That was 20 years ago. Now, easy peasy. Easy peasy. I grew in 20 years. And I will never forget how hard it was to go through that conversation. It's not hard now. But I had to learn that I had grown. It's a trap. That beautiful perspective has you trapped. Has you thinking that you are still a child. It has you thinking that you can't change your situation because you couldn't change your situation when you were 5. But you're not 5 anymore. You are stronger. But your perspective doesn't show you that because you're stuck in a story. So, conscious awareness. You are stronger. In most cases, the abuse is all gone, and your subconscious mind is just running through on an automated story without even needing to be there.